Welcome to a journey designed for tranquility, a space where the echoes of ancient worlds meet the quietude of your present moment. As the day gently recedes, we invite you to settle into a realm of calm contemplation. Tonight, we embark on an exploration of the most relaxing facts about ancient civilizations, delving into approximately 100 fascinating insights that reveal intricate patterns of daily life, subtle wisdom, and profound beauty from societies long past. There is no pressure to remember or retain these details. Instead, let them unfold naturally, inviting your mind to settle into a state of peaceful curiosity. This exploration is designed to be a soothing experience, a gentle current of historical knowledge flowing without demanding effort or attention. We will observe the intricate dance of human ingenuity, the subtle adaptations to the natural world, and the quiet wisdom embedded in the foundations of civilization. Each fact is a small window into the vast and interconnected tapestry of human history, presented in a calm and meditative tone, allowing your thoughts to drift and find stillness. Allow the gentle rhythm of these discoveries to guide you towards a state of relaxation, inviting a sense of wonder and peace as you prepare for rest. If you're finding peace in this journey, a like and subscribe helps us continue creating these restful explorations. And we're always curious. Share in the comments what city and time zone you're watching from. There's something special about knowing this experience is reaching people all over the world as they prepare for rest. As we begin our journey, we turn our gaze to the sun-drenched lands of ancient Egypt, where life unfolded in harmony with the Great Nile River. We observe the simple yet profound comforts that shape daily existence, inviting a sense of peace from an age defined by enduring traditions and a deep connection to the natural world. The Nile's gentle rhythm and sustenance, the very pulse of ancient Egyptian life, was intrinsically linked to the annual inundation of the Nile River, a natural phenomenon that brought not only sustenance but also a predictable rhythm to their world. Historians generally agree that the flooding, while powerful, was largely gentle, depositing rich, fertile silt across the agricultural lands. This predictable cycle allowed for a sense of security and continuity, as the Egyptians knew that after the waters receded, the soil would be replenished, ready for new crops. The Nile was also a primary transportation route, with boats gliding calmly along its waters, connecting communities and facilitating trade. This constant flowing presence likely instilled a deep sense of connection to nature's cycles, a reassuring backdrop to their lives. The river's bounty extended beyond agriculture, providing fish and supporting diverse wildlife, all contributing to a stable and predictable environment for thousands of years. The sight of the slow-moving river, reflecting the vast sky, offered a profound sense of natural order. Gardens and green spaces. Amidst the arid landscape, ancient Egyptians cultivated lush gardens, creating havens of shade and beauty that offered respite from the desert heat. Archaeological evidence and tomb paintings frequently depict these serene spaces, often featuring rectangular pools filled with fish and surrounded by papyrus and lotus plants. Fruit trees like dates, figs, and pomegranates provided both sustenance and cooling shade, while fragrant flowers such as jasmine and roses filled the air with their gentle scents. These gardens were not merely utilitarian. They were places for relaxation, contemplation, and social gatherings, embodying a desire for harmony between humanity and nature. The careful planning and maintenance of these green spaces suggest a deep appreciation for beauty and a conscious effort to create environments that fostered peace and well-being. They served as a miniature paradise, a sacred space where the natural world could be admired and enjoyed. The comfort of ritual and belief. Ancient Egyptian society was deeply interwoven with religious rituals and beliefs, which provided a profound sense of order, meaning, and comfort in their daily lives. From simple daily offerings to household gods to grand temple ceremonies, these practices offered a framework for understanding the universe and their place within it. The belief in a structured afterlife, where the virtuous would find eternal peace in the field of reeds, offered solace and hope in the face of mortality. Rituals for purification and protection were integrated into personal routines, creating a sense of safety and spiritual well-being. The predictable nature of religious festivals, tied to the agricultural calendar and celestial events, reinforced the cyclical order of the cosmos. This pervasive spiritual framework meant that life was imbued with sacred significance, offering a comforting sense of purpose and connection to the divine. Artisanship and craftsmanship. The meticulous craftsmanship of ancient Egyptian artisans reflects a society that valued precision, beauty, and the creation of objects for both practical use and aesthetic pleasure. From finely carved wooden furniture to intricate jewellery, pottery, and textiles, these items were often made with great care and attention to detail. The process of creation itself, often passed down through generations, could be a meditative and calming activity, fostering a sense of pride and accomplishment. The consistent artistic styles maintained for millennia suggest a reverence for tradition and a stable cultural identity. This dedication to craft provided not only functional goods, but also objects that brought beauty and meaning into daily life, transforming mundane items into small works of art. The quiet dedication of an artisan shaping clay or polishing stone speaks to a slower pace of life where skill and patience were highly esteemed. Music and leisure. Ancient Egyptians enjoyed various forms of music and leisure, activities that provided relaxation and social connection. Musicians played instruments such as harps, flutes, and lutes, often accompanying banquets, festivals, and religious ceremonies. Tomb paintings frequently depict scenes of people enjoying music, dance, and games, suggesting a culture that embraced moments of joy and communal celebration. Board games like Senet were popular pastimes, offering a peaceful way to engage the mind. These leisure activities provided a vital counterbalance to daily labour, allowing individuals to unwind and connect with others. The sounds of gentle music drifting through a garden, or the quiet focus on a game, illustrate a society that understood the importance of rest and recreation for overall well-being. These shared moments fostered community and brought a sense of lightness to their world. Bathing and personal care. Ancient Egyptians placed a high value on personal hygiene and grooming, incorporating bathing and self-care into their daily routines. Evidence suggests they regularly washed with water and a paste made from natron or ash, which served as a form of soap. Perfumed oils and ointments, crafted from natural ingredients, were used to moisturize the skin and protect it from the harsh sun. Combs, mirrors, and elaborate cosmetic palettes were common possessions, indicating a dedication to appearance and comfort. The act of bathing and self-adornment could have been a calming, meditative ritual, a moment of personal care and quiet reflection. This focus on cleanliness was not just practical, it was also tied to spiritual purity, reinforcing a holistic approach to well-being. The refreshing sensation of cool water and the soothing application of oils offered a daily dose of simple luxury and peace. Animal companionship. Animals held a special place in ancient Egyptian society, often serving as companions, protectors, and even revered deities. Cats, in particular, were cherished household pets, valued for their ability to control pests and for their graceful presence. Dogs were also common companions, assisting with hunting and guarding homes. Tomb reliefs and texts depict families alongside their beloved animals, suggesting deep bonds of affection. The quiet presence of a purring cat or a loyal dog could have offered immense comfort and companionship in daily life. Beyond pets, many animals like falcons, ibises, and crocodiles were associated with specific gods, fostering a sense of reverence for the natural world. This close interaction with animals, both domestic and wild, created a harmonious environment where the natural world was integrated into human existence, providing a gentle connection to life's broader tapestry. The peace of agricultural cycles. The rhythm of ancient Egyptian life was profoundly shaped by the predictable agricultural cycles, which offered a sense of continuity and natural harmony. After the Nile's annual inundation, farmers would sow their seeds, waiting patiently for the crops to grow, then harvesting the bounty. This reliance on natural processes fostered a deep understanding of the seasons and a patient acceptance of nature's timing. The shared labour of planting and harvesting strengthened community bonds as families and neighbours worked together in the fields. The cycle of growth, abundance, and preparation for the next season instilled a profound appreciation for the earth's generosity and the cyclical nature of life. This predictable pattern, repeated for millennia, offered a grounding presence, a reassuring knowledge that the earth would continue to provide. In observing these aspects of ancient Egyptian life, we find a pervasive sense of rhythm and order and connection to the river, to the earth, to community, and to the divine. This ancient civilization, with its enduring traditions and appreciation for simple pleasures, offers a gentle reminder of the peace that can be found in harmony with one's surroundings. We carry this quiet wisdom forward as we gently drift to the next chapter. We continue our gentle journey through the sun-drenched lands of ancient Egypt, where the echoes of a profound tranquility still resonate, inviting us to attune ourselves to the quiet wisdom of a civilization deeply rooted in balance and harmony. As we turn our gaze further into their world, we discover that the rhythms we observed in the previous chapter, the predictable flow of the Nile, the solace of gardens, the comfort of ritual, were not merely isolated practices, but manifestations of a grander, all-encompassing principle, ma'at. Ma'at, a concept both simple in its essence and vast in its implications, was the very bedrock of ancient Egyptian existence. It embodied truth, justice, cosmic order, balance, and righteousness. Imagine a society where the pursuit of these virtues was not an abstract ideal, but a daily, lived experience, woven into every interaction, every decision, every breath. We invite you now to step into this understanding, to feel how such a pervasive sense of order could quiet the mind and soothe the spirit. Picture a world where the scales of justice were meticulously balanced, not just in a courtroom, but in the heart of every individual. The ancient Egyptians believed that living in accordance with Ma'at was essential for the flourishing of their society and the continuation of cosmic order itself. This belief fostered a deep sense of responsibility, yes, but also an immense feeling of security. When every person strives for fairness, when every action aims for balance, the anxieties that plague modern life, the fear of injustice, the worry of chaos, begin to dissipate, replaced by a profound sense of trust and predictability. We envision the quietude that must have settled upon their communities, knowing that their leaders, their neighbours, and indeed the very gods themselves, were all bound by the same enduring principles of Ma'at. It was a societal contract written not just in laws, but in the very fabric of their being. This profound commitment to equilibrium meant that life unfolded with a certain grace, a predictable elegance, disputes were resolved with an eye towards restoration rather than retribution, fostering a collective harmony that allowed individuals to move through their days with a lighter heart. The gentle hum of daily life, the rhythmic sounds of work and celebration, all played out against this backdrop of cosmic order, lending a deep, resonant calm to their world. Further deepening this sense of tranquility was the ancient Egyptians' unique relationship with time itself. Unlike our modern linear perception of time relentlessly pushing us forward, ancient Egyptians embraced a cyclical view. Time was not a finite resource to be hoarded or rushed, but an eternal unfolding mirroring the predictable cycles of the Nile, the sun, and the stars. The annual inundation of the Nile, which we explored in the previous chapter, was the most tangible expression of this cosmic rhythm, a constant reassurance of renewal and rebirth. This cyclical understanding instilled a profound patience. There was no need for hurried anticipation, no gnawing anxiety about what the future might abruptly bring. Instead, there was a steady, contemplative acceptance of natural progression. We imagine the farmers observing the subtle changes in the river, knowing that the flood would come in its season, just as it always had, just as it always would. This deep trust in the inherent patterns of the universe allowed for a release from the relentless pressure of constant change, fostering a quietude that is often elusive in our fast-paced world. Consider the gentle rhythm of their days, guided by the rising and setting sun, the phases of the moon, and the familiar constellations. Each day brought its tasks, each season its rituals, all part of an unbroken chain stretching back into eternity. This timeless perspective where the past, present, and future were intertwined in a continuous loop of existence offered a comforting sense of belonging within something much larger and more enduring than any individual life. It was a quiet acknowledgement that their existence was part of an eternal flow, a gentle current carrying them forward without urgency or fear. This yearning for permanence and order, so deeply embedded in Ma'at and their cyclical view of time, found its most majestic expression in their architecture and art. As we gaze upon the enduring monuments of ancient Egypt, the pyramids, the temples, the intricately decorated tombs, we are not just witnessing feats of engineering, we are experiencing a physical manifestation of their profound desire for stability and timeless beauty. Imagine the quiet, methodical work of the artisans and labourers, guided by precise calculations and an unwavering vision. The building of these monumental structures was not a rushed endeavour, but a multi-generational commitment, a testament to collective patience and enduring purpose. Each stone laid, each hieroglyph carved, each colour applied, was a deliberate act of creation intended to last for millennia. This meticulous craftsmanship, this dedication to permanence, imbued their surroundings with a sense of quiet grandeur. We invite you to visualize the serene interiors of their temples, where the filtered light plays upon carved reliefs depicting gods and pharaohs in eternal poses of reverence and power. The symmetry, the harmonious proportions, the intricate patterns that adorned every surface, all speak of a society that found deep comfort in order and beauty. These spaces were designed not just for worship but for contemplation, for connecting with the divine in an atmosphere of profound stillness. To walk through such a space, even in imagination, is to feel a quietude descend, a sense of being part of something vast and unchanging. Even their everyday objects, from pottery to furniture, often carried this same dedication to form and function, imbued with a quiet elegance. The creation of these items, often through repetitive meditative processes, would have fostered a sense of calm focus for the artisans. and for those who used them, the presence of well-crafted, beautiful objects in their homes would have contributed to an overall atmosphere of pleasant order and aesthetic appreciation. This pervasive attention to beauty and durability in their physical world created a stable, reassuring environment, a silent testament to a culture that valued lasting harmony. Within this framework of ma'at, cyclical time, and enduring architecture, we find another source of profound tranquility, the quiet pursuit of knowledge and the revered role of the scribe. In ancient Egypt, the ability to read and write hieroglyphs was a highly respected skill, a gateway to understanding, administration, and even spiritual connection. We picture a scribe, perhaps seated cross-legged on a mat, parchment unrolled before them, a palette of inks and brushes at hand. The air is still, perhaps scented with papyrus and the faint aroma of the river. Their work is precise, methodical, and deeply contemplative, each stroke of the brush forming the elegant curves and intricate details of a hieroglyph is an act of focused concentration, a dance between mind and hand. This was not hurried labour, but a patient art demanding stillness and acute attention. The knowledge they recorded was vast and varied. Sacred texts, administrative documents, historical records, medical treatises, and literary works. Through their patient efforts, the wisdom of generations was preserved, ensuring continuity and understanding. The act of learning itself, of deciphering these beautiful symbols, would have been a deeply satisfying and calming intellectual pursuit. Imagine the quiet satisfaction of mastering such a complex system, of unlocking the secrets encoded in the written word. For the society as a whole, the presence of scribes represented order and foresight. They managed the granaries, recorded the taxes, planned the great building projects, and ensured the smooth functioning of the vast bureaucracy. This meticulous record-keeping, this dedication to clarity and precision, contributed immensely to the stable, predictable environment that was so central to Egyptian tranquility. Knowing that such careful attention was paid to the details of administration would have instilled confidence and reduced uncertainty, allowing individuals to focus on their own lives with a greater sense of ease. The reverence for knowledge, for the power of the written word, fostered a culture of quiet intellectualism that valued contemplation and understanding. It was a world where wisdom was cherished, where the act of learning was seen as a path to greater harmony with the cosmos. This gentle pursuit of knowledge, far from being a source of stress, was a profound wellspring of peace, offering a calm anchor in the flow of existence. As we gently draw this chapter to a close, we reflect on how these interwoven threads, Ma'at, the cyclical understanding of time, the enduring nature of their architecture, and the quiet pursuit of knowledge, formed a tapestry of profound tranquility in ancient Egypt. Their world was not without its challenges, certainly, but their approach to life was imbued with a deep, resonant calm, a pervasive sense of order that allowed for flourishing and peace. We leave you with the lingering impression of a civilization that understood the profound power of balance, patience, and enduring beauty. They built their lives upon principles that fostered security and harmony, creating a world where the gentle rhythm of existence was not something to be resisted, but embraced with quiet reverence. As you continue your journey into repose, let these insights from the ancient Egyptians settle softly within you, reminding you of the quiet strength found in order, the deep comfort in cycles, and the enduring peace in wisdom. We have journeyed through the grand concepts that anchored ancient Egyptian society, the unwavering balance of Ma'at, the comforting embrace of cyclical time, the enduring presence of their monumental architecture, and the quiet wisdom of their scribes. These were the foundational pillars, the deep currents beneath the surface of their civilization, providing a profound sense of order and cosmic harmony. Now, we invite you to drift a little closer to feel how these grand principles ripple through the fabric of their everyday existence, weaving a tapestry of daily life that was, in its essence, remarkably calming and deeply connected. Imagine, if you will, the sun not merely as a distant star, but as a familiar, benevolent presence, marking the steady rhythm of each day. For the ancient Egyptians, life unfolded in a gentle dance with the natural world, particularly the life-giving Nile. We often think of agricultural societies as arduous, and indeed, labour was a part of life. Yet for the Egyptians, farming was not merely toil, it was a sacred partnership with the land and the river, a predictable cycle that instilled a deep, grounding peace. Envision the farmers rising with the gentle blush of dawn, not with a sense of dread, but with a quiet readiness. Their days were structured by the sun's ascent and descent, by the predictable rhythms of planting and harvest. The annual inundation of the Nile, far from being a chaotic flood, was a meticulously observed event, a divine blessing that renewed the earth. When the waters receded, leaving behind fertile black silt, the collective effort of sowing and tilling began. There was a quiet hum of activity in the fields, the rhythmic scrape of hoes, the soft thud of bare feet on the damp earth, the lowing of cattle pulling ploughs. This was communal work, shared across families and villages, fostering bonds of cooperation and mutual reliance. Each individual understood their place in this larger, life-sustaining endeavour, a tangible expression of Ma'at's order. There was a profound satisfaction in feeling the earth between one's fingers, in watching the tender shoots emerge, in the slow, patient growth of the crops that would sustain their families and their community. This was a life lived in direct connection with the elemental forces of nature, a constant reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. The predictability of these cycles, year after year, century after century, cultivated a deep patience and a serene acceptance of nature's benevolent power. There were no sudden, jarring changes to the rhythm of their existence, rather a comforting continuity, a gentle ebb and flow that mirrored the very breath of the cosmos. Beyond the fields, the quiet focus of creation continued in countless workshops and homes. The meticulous craftsmanship we observed in their grand temples extended to the everyday objects that filled their lives. Potters shaped clay with practiced hands, weavers spun threads into intricate patterns, carpenters fashioned furniture with simple elegance. Each stroke, each knot, each polish was an act of mindful creation, a quiet dedication to beauty and utility. There was no rush, no pressure for mass production, but rather a reverence for the material and the process. Imagine the quiet concentration of a craftsman, lost in the rhythmic movements of their trade, the gentle hum of tools, the subtle scent of wood or clay. This focused engagement, this absorption in the present moment of creation, is a powerful pathway to inner calm, a meditative state achieved through purposeful work. As the sun reached its zenith, casting long, slender shadows, the focus often shifted from the fields to the sanctuary of the home. The ancient Egyptian dwelling, whether a humble mud brick house or a more elaborate villa, was designed as a haven of tranquility, a cool respite from the desert heat. These homes were often built with thick walls to insulate against the sun, and sometimes included small shaded courtyards or even miniature domestic gardens. Picture a sun-drenched exterior giving way to a cool, dimly lit interior, where the air stirred gently, perhaps carrying the faint scent of lotus from a small pool or the sweet perfume of jasmine from a potted plant. Within these walls, life unfolded at a measured pace. The domestic space was a locus of family warmth and communal connection. Meals were shared, often a simple fare of bread, beer, vegetables, and fruit eaten together, fostering conversation and strengthening familial bonds. Imagine the quiet murmur of voices, the gentle clinking of pottery, the shared laughter of children. There was a deep sense of belonging, of being part of a larger, supportive unit. Elders shared stories and wisdom, weaving the past into the present, reinforcing traditions and providing a sense of rootedness. This intergenerational continuity, this flow of knowledge and affection, created a stable and comforting environment, a secure foundation for individual well-being. The Egyptians understood the profound power of sensory pleasures to soothe the soul and elevate the spirit. Personal hygiene was not merely a matter of cleanliness, but a daily ritual of purification and self-care. The act of bathing, often in simple basins or by pouring water over oneself, was accompanied by the lavish use of fragrant oils and unguents. These were infused with natural essences, myrrh, frankincense, lotus, lily, not only to moisturize and protect the skin, but also to envelop the individual in a gentle, pleasing aroma. Imagine the calming sensation of cool water, the soft touch of linen, the delicate perfume lingering on the skin, creating a personal aura of peace. Even in their daily routines, the Egyptians found moments to imbue life with beauty and gentle indulgence. Music, as we touched upon earlier, was a constant companion to their lives, its gentle melodies weaving through both work and leisure. Lyres, harps, flutes, and sistra produced sounds that were often soothing and melodic, accompanying feasts, religious ceremonies, and quiet evenings at home. Picture the soft strumming of a harp as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the world in hues of orange and purple, or the gentle rhythm of a flute accompanying a shared meal. These were not performances designed to excite, but rather to harmonize, to create an atmosphere of contentment and shared joy. Board games like Senet offered a quiet form of mental engagement, a gentle challenge shared between friends or family members, fostering camaraderie and light-hearted competition. These simple pleasures, woven into the fabric of daily life, provided regular opportunities for relaxation and connection, allowing the mind to unwind and the spirit to rejuvenate. Perhaps one of the most profoundly relaxing aspects of ancient Egyptian thought, and one that deeply resonates with their cyclical view of time and ma'at, was their perspective on death. For many modern societies, death is often a source of anxiety, a terrifying unknown, an abrupt and final end. But for the Egyptians, death was not an ending to be feared, but a natural, anticipated transition within the eternal cycle of existence. It was simply a phase, a gentle journey from one realm to the next, a continuation of life in a different form. This perspective fostered a remarkable sense of peace and acceptance. Rather than denying mortality, they embraced it as an integral part of the grand cosmic order. The meticulous preparations for the afterlife, the elaborate tombs, the preservation of the body, the provision of grave goods, were not acts of morbid obsession, but loving, hopeful gestures. They were designed to ensure a smooth and successful transition for the deceased, to equip them for a peaceful and eternal existence in the field of reeds, a paradise much like their earthly Nile Valley, but perfected. Imagine the comfort derived from such a belief, that loved ones were not truly lost, but simply embarking on a journey home to a place of eternal peace and abundance where they would eventually reunite. This understanding removed the sharp sting of finality and replaced it with a gentle reassurance, a profound sense of continuity. The very act of preparing for this journey, whether for oneself or for a family member, became a ritual of care and reverence, a quiet affirmation of life's enduring nature. It was a testament to their belief that order, beauty, and harmony extended beyond the earthly realm into the infinite embrace of eternity. Thus we see how the grand principles of mayat and cyclical time permeated every facet of ancient Egyptian life, from the vast stretches of their agricultural lands to the intimate confines of their homes, from the quiet dignity of their craft to the profound serenity of their beliefs about the afterlife. Their world was one of predictable rhythms, communal support, aesthetic appreciation, and a deeply ingrained acceptance of life's natural flow. It was a civilization that, despite its challenges, cultivated a pervasive and grounding sense of peace, inviting us to contemplate the quiet wisdom embedded in their enduring legacy. As we gently draw this chapter to a close, we invite you to carry this sense of harmonious living, this ancient rhythm into your own quietude, allowing its gentle current to soothe and sustain you. As we gently drift forward on the tranquil current of historical knowledge, we carry with us the profound reassurance of ancient Egypt's harmonious view on existence, where even the transition of death was embraced as a natural continuation. We have explored the grand cycles, the enduring structures, and the quiet wisdom of their daily rhythms. Now, we invite you to turn your gaze toward the more intimate expressions of this pervasive peace, the subtle artistry that graced their bodies, the deep reverence they held for the animal kingdom, the gentle hands of their healing practices, the thoughtful interplay of light and shadow, and the communal celebrations that wove a tapestry of shared joy and belonging. Imagine, if you will, the serene moments of personal adornment. For the ancient Egyptians, beauty was not merely superficial, it was an integral part of their commitment to order, balance, and well-being, a quiet ritual of self-care. We picture a woman, perhaps, seated before a polished bronze mirror, meticulously applying kohl to her eyes. This wasn't a hurried act, but a contemplative one, a moment of focused attention. The kohl, a dark pigment often made from galena, was believed to protect the eyes from the harsh sun and ward off evil spirits, blending practical function with spiritual significance. Its application was a slow, steady hand tracing lines that not only enhanced beauty, but also embodied a sense of projection and inner calm. Consider the jewellery they wore, not just for status, but for its intrinsic beauty and symbolic power. Necklaces of faience beads, bracelets of gold, and intricate pectorals adorned with lapis lazuli and carnelian were crafted with extraordinary patience and precision. Each bead strung, each metal hammered, each stone set was an act of mindful creation. The artisans, working in quiet concentration, infused these pieces with a silent energy, a resonance of their own focused tranquility. When worn, these objects became extensions of the self, whispering tales of connection to nature through motifs like the scarab beetle or lotus flower, to the divine, and to the enduring cycles of life. The cool touch of polished stones against the skin, the gentle weight of a finely wrought collar, contributed to a subtle, grounding sensory experience, a constant comforting presence throughout the day. Garments, simple linen drapes, spoke of ease and comfort. Light, breathable, and elegant in their simplicity, they allowed for freedom of movement and offered respite from the warmth of the sun-drenched lands. The act of dressing, a daily ritual, was an unspoken acknowledgement of the body as a vessel deserving of care and respect, a gentle preparation for the day's unfolding. These personal customs, often performed in the quiet solitude of one's home or amidst the soft murmurs of a family preparing for the day, cultivated an internal rhythm of peace, beginning and ending each day with moments of mindful attention to self. Moving beyond the personal, we invite you to contemplate the profound reverence the ancient Egyptians held for the animal kingdom, a reverence that extended far beyond their cherished household pets. We have already touched upon the comfort derived from their loyal dogs and the quiet companionship of their revered cats, but this connection ran deeper, reflecting a broader understanding of the delicate balance of nature and the interconnectedness of all living things. Animals were not merely resources. Many were considered sacred, embodying aspects of the divine, or serving as earthly manifestations of powerful deities. The graceful ibis, with its long curved beak, was sacred to Thoth, the god of wisdom and writing, its presence perhaps inspiring quiet contemplation in those who observed its patient foraging. The swift falcon, soaring effortlessly through the azure sky, was the symbol of Horus, the sky god, reminding all of the watchful, protective gaze of the heavens. Even the humble scarab beetle, diligently rolling its ball of dung, became a potent symbol of rebirth and the cyclical journey of the sun, embodying the quiet, persistent force of creation and renewal. Observing these creatures, whether in the wild or depicted in art, offered a gentle reminder of the intricate patterns of life and the inherent wisdom of the natural world. This deep respect fostered a sense of ecological harmony. The Egyptians understood their place within the ecosystem of the Nile, recognizing the vital role each creature played. The annual migration of birds, the subtle movements of fish in the river, the industriousness of insects, all contributed to a comprehensive worldview that valued every element of life. This awareness cultivated a quiet empathy, a sense of belonging within a larger living tapestry, which in turn brought a profound sense of security and peace. There was no struggle against nature, but rather a harmonious dance with it, a gentle acceptance of its rhythms and its creatures. As our journey continues, we turn our attention to the quiet wisdom of their healing practices, which were deeply intertwined with their holistic understanding of existence. For the ancient Egyptians, health was a state of balance, a reflection of Ma'at within the body. Illness was seen as a disruption of this harmony, and their approach to healing was often gentle, preventative, and deeply connected to the natural world. Imagine, if you will, the serene atmosphere of a temple dedicated to healing, where priests and physicians, often one and the same, worked with a calm, focused intent. These were not places of frantic activity, but rather sanctuaries of quiet contemplation and restorative care. The air might have been subtly scented with calming resins and fragrant herbs, the soft light filtering through high windows. Patients would have been treated not just for physical ailments, but with an understanding of their spiritual and emotional well-being. Their pharmacopoeia was vast, drawing upon the abundant plant life of the Nile Valley. Herbal remedies, carefully prepared from papyrus, lotus, frankincense, myrrh, and countless other botanicals, were administered with a gentle touch. These treatments were often accompanied by incantations or prayers, not as mere superstition, but as a way to engage the patient's mind and spirit in the healing process, fostering a belief in recovery that itself is a powerful balm. The act of preparing and administering these remedies, grinding herbs, mixing ointments, steeping infusions, was a slow, deliberate ritual, a meditation on restoration. Beyond physical treatments, the Egyptians understood the therapeutic power of rest, nutrition, and even dream interpretation. Sleep was revered as a time for the body and mind to rejuvenate, and specific temples were dedicated to incubation, where individuals would sleep in sacred spaces in hopes of receiving divine guidance or healing dreams. This comprehensive, gentle approach to health, emphasizing prevention, natural remedies, and the integration of mind, body, and spirit, instilled a pervasive sense of security. Knowing that care was available, that there was a collective wisdom dedicated to restoring balance, offered a profound and comforting peace. Now, let us turn our gaze to the masterful interplay of light and shadow, a subtle yet powerful element in the creation of tranquil spaces. The ancient Egyptians, living in a land of abundant sunshine, understood implicitly how to harness and temper its intensity to create environments of profound serenity. Their architectural genius extended beyond grand scale to the thoughtful manipulation of natural light, transforming harsh glare into soft illumination, fostering a sense of quietude and introspection. Picture the interiors of their temples and homes. Rather than vast open windows that would invite the full force of the sun, openings were often strategically placed, high up or designed as narrow slits. This allowed shafts of sunlight to penetrate, creating dramatic yet gentle patterns of light and shade on stone walls and cool floors. Imagine walking through a temple corridor where the transition from bright outer courtyards to dimly lit inner sanctuaries was gradual, easing the eyes and the mind into a state of reverence and calm. The air within these shaded spaces would have been noticeably cooler, a welcome respite from the outside heat, inviting a deep, relaxing breath. The use of clerestory windows in temples, allowing light to filter down from above, created an ethereal glow, illuminating sacred images and hieroglyphs with a gentle, spiritual auras. This controlled light was not just functional, it was symbolic, guiding the worshipper's gaze, drawing attention to the sacred, and fostering a sense of the divine presence without overwhelming the senses. In their homes, courtyards provided central open-air spaces, but surrounding rooms were often kept dim and cool, their thick mud brick walls providing natural insulation. Here, families could gather in comfortable shade, the soft light conducive to quiet conversation, contemplation, or the peaceful pursuit of daily tasks. Even outside in their lush gardens, the careful placement of trees and trellises created dappled shade, inviting repose. The play of sunlight through palm fronds, casting dancing shadows on the ground, provided a dynamic yet calming visual rhythm. This deliberate crafting of light and shadow transformed spaces into havens of peace, encouraging stillness, meditation, and a harmonious connection to their environment. It was a subtle, yet profound architectural embrace of tranquility. Finally, we invite you to experience the gentle rhythm of communal celebrations and festivals, which, for the ancient Egyptians, were not chaotic revelries, but rather orderly, joyful expressions of gratitude, community, and connections to the divine. These events, deeply interwoven with the agricultural and religious calendars, provided moments of collective joy and reinforced the bonds of society, all while maintaining a pervasive sense of harmony. Imagine the annual Opet festival, a magnificent procession that transported the sacred barks of Amun, Mut, and Khonsu from Karnak Temple to Luxor Temple. This was a grand spectacle, yet it unfolded with a stately grace. Priests carried the divine statues, accompanied by musicians playing gentle flutes, harps, and sistra, their rhythmic sounds filling the air without overwhelming it. The banks of the Nile would have been lined with people, observing with respectful excitement, their voices a murmur of shared devotion rather than a clamour. There was a collective sense of purpose, a shared reverence that unified the populace. These festivals were often tied to the life-giving Nile and the cycles of the harvest. A successful inundation, a bountiful crop, or the changing seasons were all occasions for communal thanksgiving. While there was feasting and music, these were typically enjoyed within a framework of order and shared ritual. Families would gather, sharing meals, exchanging stories, and participating in the ceremonial aspects of the festival. There was a sense of collective effervescence, a buoyant joy, yet it was always grounded in the deeper meaning of the occasion. These celebrations served as vital punctuation marks in the year, offering opportunities for release and renewal, reinforcing social cohesion, and deepening the spiritual connection of the community. They were moments when the individual sense of peace expanded into a shared, collective tranquility, a harmonious hum of human connection and divine appreciation. The predictability of these festivals, their annual return, offered yet another layer of comfort and stability in the Egyptian worldview, a reliable rhythm in the grand dance of life. As we gently bring this chapter to a close, we hope you feel the lingering echoes of these intimate expressions of peace. From the mindful adornment of the self to the profound reverence for all living creatures, from the holistic embrace of healing to the serene dance of light and shadow, and the harmonious joy of communal celebration, ancient Egypt continuously reminds us of the myriad ways a civilization can cultivate a pervasive sense of calm. We invite you to carry this quiet wisdom forward, allowing these gentle facts to settle within you, deepening your own sense of tranquility and connection. As our gentle journey through the sun-drenched lands of ancient Egypt continues, we find ourselves drawn ever deeper into the intricate patterns of daily existence, seeking the quiet threads of wisdom that wove together a tapestry of profound peace. We have traced the grand cosmic order of Maat and observed its reflection in the rhythms of the Nile, in the enduring strength of their architecture, and in the quiet dignity of their daily tasks. Now we turn our gaze to other facets of their lives, equally imbued with a spirit of calm and connection, inviting you to further immerse yourself in this tranquil legacy. We invite you to listen to the whispers of ancient voices, to taste the simple, nourishing foods, to feel the refreshing embrace of water, and to gaze upon the same stars that brought comfort and order to a civilization so long ago. We begin by settling into the quiet warmth of shared narratives, a fundamental element of human connection and a profound source of peace in ancient Egypt. In an age before widespread literacy, the spoken word held immense power, not merely for conveying information, but for binding communities, transmitting values, and fostering a shared understanding of the world. Imagine, if you will, the gentle hush of an Egyptian evening, perhaps after the day's labours have ceased, as families and neighbours gather in courtyards or around a flickering lamp. Here the art of storytelling blossomed, a quiet ritual that brought both entertainment and instruction. We can almost hear the soft cadence of a storyteller's voice, weaving tales of gods and goddesses, of heroic kings, of cunning animals, or perhaps simply recounting the wisdom passed down through generations. These were not merely fanciful yarns, they were vessels of cultural memory, ethical guidance, and spiritual insight. Through them, the young learned about Maat, about the importance of family, about the cycles of nature, and about their place within the grand cosmic design. The repetition of beloved myths, the familiar arcs of their heroes' journeys, and the predictable moral lessons offered a deep sense of security and belonging. There was a comfort in knowing these stories, in sharing them, in feeling the quiet pulse of communal understanding that flowed with each spoken word. This oral tradition fostered patience, encouraging deep listening and contemplation, allowing the wisdom of the past to gently settle into the present moment, creating a timeless bond between speaker and listener, between generation and generation, a quiet and profound harmony. From the resonant echoes of shared stories, we drift towards the nourishing rhythms of ancient Egyptian cuisine and the simple, grounding pleasure of shared meals. Life in ancient Egypt was deeply connected to the land and its bounty, and the preparation and consumption of food were imbued with a sense of reverence and mindful appreciation. Consider the staple foods that sustained this civilization: bread, beer, vegetables, and fish, all cultivated or harvested with the predictable generosity of the Nile. The process of making bread, from grinding grain to baking in a clay oven, was a daily ritual, a rhythmic dance of hands and natural elements that grounded individuals in the present moment. We envision the warmth of the sun on the wheat fields, the steady beat of the grinder, the earthy scent of rising dough, and the comforting aroma of freshly baked loaves filling the air. Meals, though often simple, were communal affairs bringing families and communities together. Picture a family gathered on reed mats, sharing a meal of fresh bread, a stew of lentils or vegetables, perhaps some roasted fish from the river, and a cool drink of beer. There was no rush, no frantic pace, instead a quiet enjoyment of sustenance, of company, of the day's blessings. This shared act of nourishment fostered a deep sense of connection, reinforcing family bonds and community ties. It was a tangible expression of gratitude for the earth's abundance, a moment of pause to simply be and to savour. The mindful preparation and consumption of food created a rhythm of the hearth, a comforting predictability that anchored daily life in a profound sense of well-being and contentment, reminding us that true richness often lies in the simplest, most fundamental acts of living. As we gently move from the warmth of the hearth, we are drawn to the soothing, life-giving presence of water, not only the majestic Nile, but also the myriad ways it was integrated into daily life for refreshment, cleansing, and spiritual purification. In a sun-drenched land, the cool embrace of water was a precious commodity, revered and utilized with wisdom. Beyond the vast river, ancient Egyptian homes often featured courtyards with small pools or basins, and public spaces sometimes included fountains, their gentle murmuring a constant calming presence. Imagine the delightful sensation of dipping one's hands into cool, clear water on a hot day, or the quiet pleasure of a refreshing bath after a long day's work. Personal hygiene was not merely a practical necessity. It was a ritual of self-care, a way to purify the body and mind, preparing oneself for rest or for sacred duties. We contemplate the cool, smooth feel of water as it washes over the skin, cleansing not just dirt, but also the day's worries. These acts of washing, whether a full bath or a simple hand washing before a meal, were quiet moments of introspection and renewal. Temples, too, incorporated sacred pools where priests would perform ritual ablutions, symbolizing the purification of the spirit before approaching the divine. This constant, gentle interaction with water, its refreshing touch, its cleansing power, its symbolic purity, fostered a deep sense of peace and inner calm. It was a tangible reminder of renewal, of the ability to wash away the old and embrace the new, offering a profound sense of physical and spiritual lightness. And as the day wanes and the cool Egyptian night descends, we invite you to lift your gaze to the vast, star-strewn canvas above, to experience the cosmic calm that ancient Egyptians found in stargazing and celestial observation. In a world without artificial light pollution, the night sky would have been an awe-inspiring spectacle, a glittering tapestry of stars, planets, and constellations. For the ancient Egyptians, these celestial bodies were not merely distant lights. They were integral to their understanding of order, time, and the divine. The predictable movements of the stars provided a cosmic clock guiding their agricultural cycles, marking the passage of seasons and even influencing the orientation of their monumental architecture. We imagine individuals lying on rooftops or in open fields, silently contemplating the infinite expanse above, feeling a profound sense of connection to something vast and eternal. This act of stargazing was a contemplative journey, a quiet acknowledgement of the universe's grand design and their own place within it. It offered perspective, shrinking earthly concerns against the backdrop of cosmic immensity, fostering a sense of humility and wonder. The reliable, unchanging patterns of the heavens provided a deep sense of security and continuity, reinforcing their belief in a stable, ordered cosmos. There was a quiet wisdom in recognizing that while human lives may be fleeting, the stars endure, following their timeless paths. This celestial ballet, observed with such reverence, provided a powerful antidote to anxiety, inspiring a deep abiding ecstasy that transcended the temporal and connected them to the eternal rhythm of the universe. As the quietude of these ancient practices settles upon us, we feel the gentle embrace of a civilization that understood the profound power of harmony, connection, and mindful living. From the comforting narratives that bound communities, to the grounding rituals of shared sustenance, to the purifying touch of water, and the vast peaceful expanse of the night sky, the ancient Egyptians cultivated a way of life that resonated with a deep and enduring tranquility. We carry these insights forward, allowing their quiet wisdom to guide us, fostering within ourselves a renewed sense of peace and a deeper connection to the gentle rhythms of existence. From the boundless expanse of the cosmic tapestry, where the ancients found solace in the predictable dance of stars, we gently descend, allowing our awareness to settle upon the more intimate, yet equally profound sources of tranquility that permeated their earthly existence. Having gazed upon the vast, ordered universe, we now turn our gaze inward, to the quiet corners of their daily lives, where peace was cultivated with deliberate care, forming a harmonious counterpoint to the grand rhythms of the cosmos. Imagine, if you will, the serene moments of leisure, when the sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the fertile fields, and the day's labours gave way to a different kind of engagement. We invite you to envision the ancient Egyptians, not always toiling, but finding quietude in shared activities that nurtured the mind and spirit. Among these, few spoke more eloquently of measured contemplation than the ancient game of senet. We see them now gathered in the cool shade of a fig tree, or perhaps within the tranquil confines of their homes, reclining on simple mats. Before them, a long, narrow board, etched with 30 squares, awaits. The pieces are humble, perhaps carved from wood or clay, their smooth surfaces polished by countless hands. This is not a game of frantic competition, but one of gentle strategy, a dance between fate and foresight. With each throw of the knuckle bones or sticks marking a step along the path, players move their pieces across the board, navigating symbolic squares that represent life's journey, its challenges, and its ultimate destination. There is a rhythm to senet, a slow, unhurried cadence that encourages patience. The quiet click of the pieces, the soft murmur of conversation, the shared smiles of concentration, these are the sounds of minds at peace, engaged but not stressed. It is a game that teaches acceptance, for the throw of the dice is beyond one's control, mirroring the ebb and flow of the Nile, the unpredictable elements of nature. Yet within these boundaries of chance there is room for thoughtful decision, for guiding one's destiny with wisdom. The goal is not merely to win, but to complete the journey, to navigate the symbolic passage with grace and understanding. In this simple act of play, the ancient Egyptians found a miniature reflection of their larger worldview, an ordered universe where even the unpredictable could be met with calm resolve, a gentle reminder that life's path, though varied, leads always towards a peaceful unfolding. As the quietude of play settles, another form of ancient solace begins to resonate, filling the air with its gentle vibrations, the soothing symphony of ancient Egyptian music. We invite you to close your eyes and listen, truly listen, to the sounds that once graced their world, crafted not for jarring excitement but for harmony and emotional resonance. The instruments themselves speak of natural elegance, the delicate strum of a harp, its strings singing melodies that could lull a child to sleep or elevate a spirit in prayer, the ethereal breath of a flute, its notes winding like the softest breeze through papyrus reeds, the rhythmic shimmer of sistra, a percussive instrument shaken gently, its metallic discs whispering a soft, hypnotic sound often used in rituals to invoke peace and purity. Music was not a mere backdrop to life. It was woven into its very fabric, a conscious tool for fostering tranquility. Imagine the evening air, thick with the scent of night-blooming jasmine, as a mother hums a lullaby, a simple repetitive tune that speaks of safety and love, guiding her child into slumber. Envision the serene moments in the temple, where priests and priestesses chant, their voices blending with the measured tones of harps and flutes, creating an atmosphere of deep reverence and inner stillness. During feasts, the music might quicken slightly, but always retaining an underlying grace, inviting gentle movement and communal joy, never discordant or jarring. It was a music designed to connect, to soothe, to uplift and to ground, a continuous flow of harmonious sound that acted as a balm for the soul, a gentle reminder of the ordered beauty that surrounded them. And where music flowed, so too often did the graceful movement of dance. We do not speak of strenuous, high-impact performance, but of a more subtle, expressive art form, deeply connected to ritual, community, and personal feeling. Ancient Egyptian dance was often characterized by its flowing lines, its measured steps, and its emphasis on symbolic gestures rather than acrobatic feats. Picture dancers, perhaps at a festival, their movements echoing the sway of palm trees, the gentle undulations of the Nile, or the graceful flight of birds. Their arms might extend, palms open, in gestures of offering or reception. Their bodies might turn in slow, deliberate rotations, embodying the cyclical nature of time. This dance was a form of meditation in motion, a physical manifestation of harmony. It allowed the body to release tension through rhythmic, non-strenuous movement, fostering a sense of lightness and freedom. Whether performed as an act of devotion in a temple, a communal expression of joy during a harvest celebration, or a personal moment of quiet reflection, Egyptian dance was an embodiment of grace and balance. It offered a pathway to connect with the divine, with community, and with one's own inner self, all through the language of gentle, purposeful movement, leaving the participant and observer alike with a feeling of profound peace and centeredness. As we absorb the soothing sounds and gentle movements, our eyes are drawn to another pervasive source of calm in ancient Egypt, the visual poetry of hieroglyphs and sacred art. Everywhere you turn, from the towering walls of temples to the intimate confines of a tomb, the very surfaces speak in a language of exquisite beauty and profound meaning. These are not merely decorative elements. They are narratives carved and painted with meticulous care, each stroke a deliberate act of creation, imbued with purpose and reverence. Consider the hieroglyphs themselves, miniature works of art depicting birds, animals, tools, and abstract concepts, arranged in intricate patterns that are both aesthetically pleasing and intellectually stimulating. Their very forms are graceful, their composition balanced. As you trace their lines with your gaze, a sense of quiet contemplation descends. You are not meant to rush through these visual texts, but to absorb them slowly, to allow their beauty and symbolism to unfold. The colours, derived from natural pigments, the deep blues of lapis lazuli, the vibrant greens of malachite, the earthy reds and yellows, retain their soft luminosity, speaking of a world connected to the earth's bounty. The larger wall paintings and reliefs tell stories of gods and pharaohs, of daily life and the journey to the afterlife. Yet even in depictions of grand events there is an underlying serenity. Figures are often portrayed in profile with an idealized, timeless quality. Their expressions are calm, their gestures deliberate. There is no chaos, no frantic motion, but rather an ordered elegance that reflects the cosmic principle of Ma'at. The artistry itself is a testament to the patient, meditative work of the scribes and artisans who spent countless hours perfecting these images, connecting their hands and hearts to the divine. Viewing these ancient canvases, we are invited to slow our own pace, to immerse ourselves in the quiet grandeur of their vision, and to find a deep sense of peace in their enduring beauty and the wisdom they silently convey. This deliberate cultivation of visual harmony extends profoundly into the very architecture and design of their sacred spaces. We invite you to step with us into the heart of an ancient Egyptian temple, not as a bustling tourist, but as a seeker of tranquility. These monumental structures were not merely buildings, they were carefully crafted sanctuaries, designed to evoke a profound sense of awe and inner peace. Their builders understood the power of light and shadow, of proportion and spatial flow to guide the human spirit towards quietude. As you move from the brightly lit outer courtyards into the progressively dimmer, more enclosed hyperstyle halls, a natural hush falls upon you. The massive columns, often carved to resemble bundles of papyrus or lotus stalks, rise majestically, creating a forest of stone that filters the sunlight into dappled patterns on the floor. The air grows cooler, the sounds of the outside world recede, and a sense of sacred stillness envelops you. The deliberate progression from light to darkness, from open to enclosed, mirrors an inner journey, inviting introspection and reverence. The very scale of these structures, while grand, is not overwhelming in a chaotic sense, but rather inspires a feeling of humble connection to something eternal and vast, yet deeply ordered. Every element, from the precisely aligned courtyards to the intricate carvings that adorn the walls, contributes to this atmosphere of serenity. The use of water in temple precincts, in reflecting pools or ritual basins, adds another layer of calming sensory experience. The gentle shimmer, the cool touch. These spaces were designed to be havens for the soul, places where one could shed the anxieties of the mundane world and connect with the divine in a profoundly peaceful and reassuring manner. They stand as enduring testaments to a civilization that understood the architectural embodiment of tranquility, crafting environments that nurtured the spirit and offered a refuge for contemplation. Finally, as we absorb the visual and sensory delights, we turn our attention to the quiet power of wisdom, passed down through generations. Beyond the grand narratives, beyond the rituals, lies the gentle guidance embedded in oral traditions, in proverbs and teachings that shaped character and fostered a harmonious society. We invite you to imagine the gentle voice of an elder, perhaps by the hearth fire or under the shade of a sycamore tree, sharing insights gleaned from a lifetime of experience. These are not rigid commandments, but soft suggestions guiding principles for living a balanced and peaceful life. Think of the instructions of Tahotep or the maxims of Eni, ancient texts that encapsulate this timeless wisdom, often presented as advice from a father to a son. They speak of the importance of listening more than speaking, of exercising patience, of being kind to one's neighbours, of finding contentment in simple things, and of maintaining a calm heart in the face of adversity. Do not be arrogant because of your knowledge, one maxim advises, but consult with the ignorant as well as the wise. Another suggests, silence is more profitable than abundance of speech. These were not abstract philosophical debates, but practical lessons for daily living passed down through storytelling and shared experience. They instilled a sense of continuity, a connection to the accumulated wisdom of ancestors, providing a comforting framework for moral and ethical conduct. This intergenerational sharing fostered respect, reinforced communal bonds, and offered a gentle, consistent moral compass. It ensured that values of peace, humility, and balance were not merely ideals, but lived realities, woven into the very fabric of their societal interactions. The quiet wisdom of the ancients, patiently cultivated and gently transmitted, served as a perpetual source of inner calm, guiding individuals to navigate life's currents with grace and an enduring sense of purpose. As we conclude this chapter, reflecting upon the gentle art of play, the soothing embrace of music and dance, the quiet beauty of their visual narratives, the intentional serenity of their sacred architecture, and the profound comfort of their inherited wisdom, we recognize that the ancient Egyptians truly mastered the art of living in harmony. They crafted a world where every element, from the simplest game to the grandest temple, from a whispered lullaby to a timeless proverb, contributed to a pervasive sense of peace. We invite you to carry these impressions with you, allowing the echoes of their tranquil world to resonate within your own, preparing your spirit for ever deeper rest and quiet contemplation. As our journey through the sun-drenched lands of ancient Egypt continues, we find ourselves drawn by the gentle current of historical knowledge to yet another facet of their profound wisdom, their approach to well-being, and the intricate art of healing. We invite you now to drift with us, allowing your mind to rest upon the thoughtful care and holistic understanding that permeated their daily lives, creating a pervasive sense of security and calm. In a world where the mysteries of the body and mind were often intertwined with the divine, the ancient Egyptians cultivated a system of care that sought harmony not only within the individual, but also with the natural world and the cosmic order. Imagine, if you will, a society where health was not merely the absence of illness, but a vibrant state of balance, a reflection of Mayat herself within the human form. This was the tranquil philosophy that guided their understanding of the body and its needs. We turn our gaze now to the quiet chambers of healing, to the fragrant gardens where remedies grew, and to the gentle hands that offered solace, revealing how even in moments of vulnerability, a profound sense of peace could be found. The ancient Egyptian healers, often referred to as physicians or priests of Sekhmet, were figures of immense respect and quiet authority. Their training was rigorous, often beginning in specialized houses of life, institutions connected to temples, where knowledge was carefully preserved and passed down through generations. Here, amidst the serene rustle of papyrus scrolls and the soft glow of oil lamps, students would learn anatomy, herbalism, diagnosis, and the intricate rituals that accompanied treatment. It was a dedication to understanding the human form, not as a collection of separate parts, but as a delicate ecosystem, deeply connected to its environment and its spiritual essence. We can almost feel the reassuring presence of these healers, their voices calm and measured, their touch gentle and skilled. They approach their patients with a blend of practical knowledge and spiritual insight, understanding that true healing often required ministering to the soul as much as to the body. Their methods were often methodical, involving careful observation, thoughtful questioning, and a deep reverence for the patient's comfort. There was a rhythm to their practice, a quiet confidence that instilled trust and eased anxiety, transforming moments of discomfort into opportunities for focused, gentle care. This profound connection to nature was nowhere more evident than in their remedies. The fertile lands blessed by the Nile provided an abundant pharmacy, a lush tapestry of plants and herbs, each holding its own subtle power. Picture vast, sun-drenched fields and meticulously tended gardens, where skilled hands would gather papyrus, lotus, mandrake, castor oil plant, and countless other botanical treasures. The air itself might have been rich with the scent of myrrh, frankincense, and various medicinal herbs, gently crushed and prepared for poultices, infusions, or fragrant balms. The preparation of these remedies was often a slow, contemplative process, grinding herbs with a mortar and pestle, steeping leaves in warm water, mixing oils and resins. Each step was performed with precision and an almost meditative focus. It was a testament to their belief in the earth's nurturing embrace, a quiet acknowledgement that the very ground beneath their feet held the keys to restoration. This reliance on natural elements fostered a deep sense of connection to their environment, reinforcing the comforting cycle of growth, harvest, and healing that mirrored the rhythms of the Nile itself. Beyond treating specific ailments, the Egyptians placed significant emphasis on preventative care, understanding that a well-maintained body was less susceptible to imbalance. Their meticulous hygiene practices, which we have touched upon before, were a cornerstone of this preventative philosophy. Daily washing, the use of fragrant oils and unguents, and careful attention to cleanliness were not merely aesthetic choices, but vital components of health. Their diet, largely based on grains, vegetables, fruits, and fish from the Nile, was inherently wholesome and balanced. They understood the importance of moderation and the benefits of fresh, unprocessed foods. This mindful approach to sustenance, coupled with active lifestyles that involved working the land, crafting and engaging in communal activities, fostered a natural vigor and resilience. It was a gentle reminder that daily choices, made with awareness and intention, contributed significantly to a sustained state of well-being and a peaceful existence. Yet, even with the most diligent care, illness could sometimes arise. In these moments, the spiritual dimension of healing offered immense comfort and solace. The Egyptians believed that sickness could sometimes be attributed to malevolent spirits or divine displeasure, but also that divine entities could offer protection and healing. Amulets, carefully carved with symbols of protection like the Eye of Horus or the Ankh, were worn as a constant, tangible reminder of divine guardianship, offering a quiet reassurance against unseen threats. Prayers and incantations were often recited during the application of remedies, not as a replacement for practical medicine but as a spiritual complement, invoking the benevolent presence of gods like Sekhmet, Thoth, or Isis to guide the healer's hands and accelerate recovery. This integration of the sacred into the mundane aspects of health provided a profound sense of security. It meant that even in times of suffering one was not alone. The cosmos, the gods, and the community were all engaged in the gentle process of restoration. The act of offering a prayer or wearing a blessed amulet instilled a deep inner calm, transforming anxiety into hope. As we gently shift our focus from the specific practices of healing, we realize that this philosophy of care extended far beyond the sickbed. It permeated the very fabric of daily life, encouraging a continuous state of well-being. The Egyptians found peace in simple pleasures, in moments of quiet contemplation that nourished the spirit. Imagine a tranquil afternoon spent by the cool waters of a garden pond, watching the lotus flowers unfurl their delicate petals, feeling the gentle breeze carry the scent of jasmine. Or perhaps a quiet evening on the roof of a mud-brick home, gazing at the star-studded sky, feeling a profound connection to the vast, orderly cosmos. These moments of stillness, of appreciative observation, were not luxuries, but essential elements of a balanced life. They understood the calming power of nature, the restorative effect of beauty, and the quiet joy found in the unhurried passage of time. Family life, too, offered a deep wellspring of peace. Shared meals, storytelling passed down through generations, the laughter of children echoing in the courtyards. These were the threads that wove a secure and comforting social fabric. The respect for elders, the care for the young, and the strong bonds of community ensured that individuals felt supported and cherished, reducing the anxieties that often plague isolated lives. There was a gentle rhythm to their interactions, a collective harmony that resonated with the larger cosmic order they so deeply revered. Even the concept of work for many was infused with a sense of purpose and connection. The farmer tending his fields, the artisan crafting a beautiful object, the scribe meticulously recording knowledge, each contributed to the collective prosperity and stability. There was dignity in their labour, a sense of belonging to a larger, enduring system. This connection to purpose, to community, and to the predictable cycles of the Nile fostered an underlying sense of calm and contentment that transcended the daily challenges of life. Thus, we conclude our exploration of the Egyptian approach to well-being, finding that their wisdom extended to every aspect of existence. From the rigorous yet gentle practices of their healers, drawing upon the earth's bounty, to their meticulous preventative care, and the profound comfort found in spiritual solace, their society was designed to nurture and sustain. They understood that true peace was not merely an absence of conflict, but a holistic state of harmony, with oneself, with others, with nature, and with the divine. As we prepare to gently close this chapter, we invite you to carry this understanding with you. Feel the lingering sense of security, the profound calm that arises from a life lived in balance, deeply connected to its environment, and guided by an unwavering belief in a harmonious order. Allow the wisdom of these ancient practices to settle within you, reminding you of the enduring power of gentle care, thoughtful intention, and the serene rhythm of a life well lived. May this quiet knowledge further deepen your sense of tranquility, guiding you towards a restful and peaceful state. Welcome back, dear traveller, to our gentle journey through the sun-drenched lands of ancient Egypt, a realm where the currents of peace flow as steadily as the Nile itself. We have drifted through verdant gardens, felt the cool touch of temple stones, and understood the quietude found in daily rhythms and timeless crafts. Now, as the soft twilight of our exploration begins to deepen, we invite you to turn your gaze towards a facet of ancient Egyptian life that, perhaps surprisingly, offered one of the most profound forms of tranquility, their serene and deeply reassuring understanding of the journey beyond. For many, the contemplation of what lies beyond this life can be a source of unease, a shadowy unknown that casts a pall over the present. Yet for the ancient Egyptians, this was not the case. Their perspective on death was not one of fear or finality, but rather a meticulously planned, beautifully orchestrated continuation, a harmonious transition into an eternal existence that mirrored the best of their earthly lives. We find here not an ending, but an infinite unfolding, a testament to their unwavering belief in cosmic order and the enduring rhythm of existence. Imagine, if you will, a people who saw life not as a fragile thread that could be abruptly severed, but as a continuous tapestry, with the passage from one realm to the next simply a change in weave, a shift in pattern. They approach this ultimate transition with a sense of purposeful preparation, a quiet reverence that transformed the unknown into a familiar path, well lit by ritual and a belief. This profound sense of predictability, of knowing what awaited them, imbued their lives with an underlying calm, freeing them from the anxieties that often plague the modern mind. We observe how the ancient Egyptians understood the self as a complex, multifaceted being, parts of which endured far beyond the physical body. There was the Ka, the life force, the spiritual double that remained in the tomb, perpetually nourished by offerings connected to the earthly home. And there was the Bear, often depicted as a human-headed bird representing the personality, the essence of the individual free to travel between the tomb and the heavens, to reunite with the Ka and journey through the afterlife. This beautiful conceptualization ensured that the individual essence was never truly lost, but merely transformed, continuing its existence in a new yet deeply connected way. Such an intricate understanding, where parts of the self persisted and interacted, offered immense comfort and a tangible sense of continuity. Consider the meticulous care with which they prepared for this eternal journey. The construction of a tomb was not merely the building of a grave, it was the creation of an eternal home, a sacred space designed to house the Ka and facilitate the Be's travels. These tombs, whether grand pyramids or humble rock-cut chambers, were filled with provisions, food, drink, furniture, clothing, and personal effects, all intended to ensure the deceased's comfort and well-being in the afterlife. This was an act of profound love and foresight, a societal practice that underscored a collective belief in a continuing need for comfort and sustenance. Imagine the peace that must have settled upon a family knowing that their loved one was not simply gone, but was well equipped for their next great adventure, surrounded by everything they cherished. This deep sense of provision, of caring for one another even beyond the veil of life, fostered an unparalleled feeling of security and interconnectedness. As we gently drift further, we arrive at the most serene vision of the Egyptian afterlife, the field of reeds, or Aru. This was not a distant ethereal heaven, but rather a perfect idealized version of Egypt itself. Envision vast fields of golden grain, perpetually ripe for harvest, tended by the blessed deceased. Picture tranquil canals teeming with fish, lush gardens overflowing with vibrant flowers and sweet fruits, and comfortable homes where families could reunite and live in perpetual harmony. It was a place of eternal abundance, free from toil, hunger, or sorrow, a realm where the sun always shone gently, and the air was perpetually soft and warm. This vision of the field of reeds offered a tangible, comforting destination, a promise of eternal peace and fulfillment. It was a place where one's life continued, but in its most idyllic form, a reward for living a life in accordance with Ma'at, the idea that one would continue to enjoy the simple pleasures of existence, the warmth of the sun, the taste of fresh bread, the company of loved ones. But without the burdens of earthly existence must have been profoundly reassuring. It transformed the concept of paradise into something familiar and deeply personal, fostering a sense of belonging even in eternity. To navigate this journey, the Egyptians compiled texts such as the Book of Going Forth by Day, more commonly known as the Book of the Dead. These were not ominous spells meant to ward off evil, but rather a collection of guides, affirmations and declarations designed to assist the deceased through the various stages of the afterlife. They contained prayers, magical formulas, and descriptions of the paths and challenges, offering reassurance and clarity. Think of them as a comprehensive travel guide meticulously prepared to ensure a smooth and successful journey to a known desired destination. The very existence of such a guide speaks volumes about their proactive approach to the afterlife, turning potential fear into empowered navigation. This structured understanding, this detailed mapping of the path ahead, undoubtedly brought immense peace of mind to both the living and the dying. Furthermore, the ancient Egyptians maintained a deep reverence for their ancestors, a connection that transcended the boundaries of life and death. The living often communicated with the deceased, seeking guidance or offering prayers, believing that their ancestors continued to watch over them and exert influence from the other side. This constant interaction, this unbroken chain of community that stretched across realms, ensured that death did not sever bonds but merely transformed them. It created a powerful sense of continuity, a comforting reminder that one was always part of a larger, enduring family, a timeless lineage. This intergenerational harmony, stretching into eternity, is a beautiful testament to their holistic view of existence. We find then that the Egyptian approach to death was not a morbid preoccupation, but a profound exercise in acceptance and preparation. By meticulously planning for the afterlife, by envisioning it as a continuation of life's best aspects, and by providing detailed guides for the journey, they effectively demystified the unknown. This reframing of death from a terrifying void into a predictable, even desirable transition allowed them to live their earthly lives with a remarkable sense of peace. The anxiety that often accompanies the thought of mortality was largely absent, replaced by a quiet confidence in the cosmic order and their place within it. This ancient wisdom offers us a gentle lesson in perspective. It reminds us that by embracing the cyclical nature of existence, by acknowledging transitions as part of a larger, harmonious pattern, we too can find a deeper sense of calm. The Egyptians, through their reverence for the journey beyond, cultivated a profound appreciation for the present, knowing that each moment was a step on a continuous path. Their peaceful acceptance of life's ultimate rhythm allowed them to infuse their daily lives with meaning, purpose, and an enduring sense of tranquility. As we conclude this contemplation of the Egyptian afterlife, we invite you to breathe deeply, absorbing the quiet confidence that emanated from this ancient civilization. Let the image of the serene field of reeds, a place of eternal harvest and harmony, settle gently in your mind. Feel the reassuring presence of continuity, the soft whisper of enduring connections that stretch beyond the visible. There is a profound peace in understanding that all things flow, all things transform, and that within these gentle currents lies an inherent order, a comfort that has echoed through millennia. Allow this ancient wisdom to soothe any lingering anxieties, replacing them with a quiet acceptance, a gentle trust in the grand, unfolding tapestry of existence. Rest now in the knowledge that tranquility can be found even in the contemplation of life's greatest mysteries, guided by the timeless calm of the pharaohs. Having journeyed through the serene landscapes of the ancient Egyptian understanding of life's ultimate transition, we now gently draw back from the grand tapestry of the afterlife to observe how this profound peace resonated through the very fabric of their waking hours. The acceptance of eternity, the meticulous preparation for the field of reeds, and the reverence for ancestors were not isolated beliefs. They were threads woven into the vibrant, living cloth of daily existence, infusing every moment with a quietude and purpose that we can still feel echoing through time. We invite you to attune your senses once more to this delicate rhythm, to perceive how a civilization so deeply connected to the cosmic order found tranquility in the smallest, most repetitive acts. Imagine, if you will, the soft light of dawn touching the eastern bank of the Nile, painting the world in hues of rose and gold. For the ancient Egyptians, each sunrise was not merely the start of a new day, but a sacred reiteration of creation, a gentle promise of renewal. This awareness fostered a pervasive sense of gratitude and connection, manifest in simple recurring rituals that anchored their lives. We often associate rituals with grand ceremonies in colossal temples, yet the most enduring peace often blossoms from the quiet, personal acts of devotion performed within the sanctuary of one's own home. Consider the humble domestic altar, present in nearly every household, a space dedicated to familial ancestors and local deities. Here, daily offerings of fresh water, a few dates, a bloom gathered from the garden, or a small loaf of bread were placed with quiet reverence. These were not demands upon the divine, but rather expressions of thanks, acknowledgements of the interconnectedness between the living, the departed, and the gods who oversaw the cosmic balance. The act itself was a meditation, a moment of stillness amidst the day's unfolding tasks. The gentle pouring of cool water, the deliberate placement of an offering, the silent invocation. Each motion was a reaffirmation of Mayat, a small yet potent act of bringing order and harmony into one's immediate sphere. This quiet devotion fostered a sense of belonging, a comforting awareness of being part of something vast and eternal, rather than isolated in the fleeting present. Beyond the home, the rhythm of daily life was punctuated by moments of collective reverence. The sound of a priest's chant drifting from a nearby temple, the visual spectacle of a procession winding through the streets, the shared anticipation of a festival dedicated to a beloved deity. These experiences wove the community together in a tapestry of shared belief and purpose. Even those not directly involved in temple service understood their role in maintaining cosmic harmony. A farmer tilling his fields, a potter shaping clay, a weaver at her loom, each contributed to the well-being of the whole, their labour seen as an offering, a participation in the divine order. This collective consciousness, this understanding that individual effort contributed to universal balance, cultivated a profound sense of security and belonging, dissolving the anxieties of isolation and fostering a deep, communal calm. As we gently shift our gaze, we are drawn to another source of profound tranquility in ancient Egypt, the serene discipline of the scribe. In a world where knowledge was power, the ability to read and write hieroglyphs was a revered art, a path to a life of quiet contemplation and dignified service. Imagine the scribe seated cross-legged, perhaps in the shade of a sycamore tree, or within the cool confines of a temple scriptorium. The air is still, save for the faint rustle of papyrus and the rhythmic dip of the reed pen into the inkpot. This was a profession demanding immense patience, meticulous precision, and a deep respect for the written word, qualities inherently conducive to a peaceful mind. The education of a scribe was a lengthy and rigorous process, beginning in childhood. It instilled not just literacy, but also philosophy of order, discipline, and the enduring value of wisdom. Young students would spend years copying texts, memorizing proverbs, and mastering the intricate beauty of hieroglyphic script. This repetitive, focused work was a form of meditative practice, training the mind to concentrate, to appreciate to detail, and to find beauty in structure. We can almost hear the soft scratching of the pen, the quiet murmurs of instruction, the focused breathing of young minds absorbing ancient wisdom. Such an environment dedicated to the transmission of knowledge and the preservation of culture must have been a sanctuary of calm, a place where the clamour of the world receded, replaced by the gentle hum of learning. The texts they copied and created were often not just administrative records, but also collections of instructions or wisdom literature. These ancient guides offered gentle advice on how to live a virtuous, balanced, and ultimately peaceful life. They spoke of the importance of self-control, of speaking kindly, of respecting elders, of seeking justice, and of finding contentment in one's lot. Do not be arrogant because of your knowledge, advises the instruction of Ptahhotep, but consult the ignorant as well as the wise. Such wisdom passed down through generations encouraged introspection, humility, and a measured approach to life's challenges, fostering an inner quietude that was highly valued. The very act of reading these words, even today, can evoke a sense of timeless calm, a connection to a universal human quest for inner harmony. From the disciplined hand of the scribe, we turn our attention to the broader canvas of ancient Egyptian art, where tranquility was not merely depicted, but intrinsically embedded in its very essence. Their art, whether on temple walls, tomb chambers, or funerary objects, was never purely decorative. It was a language, a system of symbols designed to communicate profound truths about order, eternity, and the divine. And in this language we find an abundance of visual peace. Consider the characteristic Egyptian style, the composite view, where the most representative aspects of a figure are combined: a profile head with a frontal eye, shoulders facing forward with legs in on a profile. This seemingly rigid convention was not a limitation but a deliberate choice, intended to present figures and scenes in their most complete and eternal form, free from the fleeting distortions of perspective or movement. The result is an art that feels timeless, poised, and utterly serene. There is no frantic action, no chaotic struggle. Instead, figures stand or sit with a quiet dignity. Their gestures often restrained, their gazes steady. The use of colour was equally deliberate and harmonious. Pigments derived from the earth and minerals, the deep blues of lapis lazuli, or its imitation, the vibrant greens of malachite, the rich reds of ochre, the sunny yellows, were applied with a clarity and symbolism that spoke to cosmic principles. Blue often represented the heavens, water, and the divine. Green, rejuvenation and fertility. Red, vitality and power. Yellow, the sun and eternity. These colours, used in balanced compositions, created visual harmonies that were soothing to the eye and mind, reinforcing the pervasive sense of order. Walking through a painted tomb chamber, one might feel enveloped by a gentle symphony of colour and form, each element contributing to an overarching sense of peace and continuity. Furthermore, the recurring motifs in their art, the lotus flower symbolising creation and rebirth, the scarab beetle representing renewal and the rising sun, the ankh, the symbol of life itself, were not just pretty pictures. They were powerful, comforting affirmations of life's cyclical nature, of hope, and of divine protection. To live surrounded by such art, to daily encounter these symbols of enduring truth, must have instilled a deep sense of security and belonging within the cosmic flow. The intricate patterns, the balanced compositions, the unwavering gaze of deities and pharaohs all conspired to create an environment where peace was not an aspiration but an ever-present reality, a visual mantra for a tranquil existence. As our gentle journey through these sun-drenched lands draws towards its close, we hope you have felt the profound quietude that permeated ancient Egyptian life. From the personal acts of daily devotion that tethered individuals to the divine, to the disciplined pursuit of wisdom by the scribes, and the timeless symbolic beauty of their art, every facet of their civilization seems to have been carefully crafted to foster a sense of harmony, order, and inner peace. Their world was not without challenges, yet their genius lay in creating systems of belief and practice that allowed them to navigate life with a reassuring sense of purpose and an unwavering connection to the eternal. We invite you to carry these gentle echoes with you, to reflect on how these ancient principles of balance, reverence, and mindful living might resonate in your own quest for tranquility. For in the enduring wisdom of the Egyptians we find not just historical facts, but timeless invitations to stillness, to connection, and to the profound peace that arises from a life lived in harmony with the grand eternal flow. Let these thoughts drift like the gentle current of the Nile, carrying you further into a state of deep relaxation, preparing your mind and spirit for restorative rest. As we journey further into the quietude of these ancient reflections, we find ourselves enveloped by a profound sense of completeness, a gentle understanding that has unfolded with each passing moment. We have witnessed the intricate tapestry of ancient Egyptian life, not as a collection of disparate facts, but as a seamlessly woven fabric where every thread contributes to an overarching design of peace and purpose. The wisdom we have gathered, like the slow, steady rise of the Nile, now begins to settle, irrigating the fertile ground of our own minds, preparing us for a deeper, more enduring tranquility. We invite you now to consider the full holistic embrace of this ancient civilization, where every aspect of existence, from the grandest temple to the simplest gesture, was imbued with a conscious aspiration for balance, for ma'at. This was not merely a philosophical concept, it was the very blueprint for their world, a cosmic rhythm that resonated through their architecture, their communities, and their personal spiritual practices. Imagine, if you will, the ordered beauty of their cities, not chaotic sprawls but carefully planned spaces where the sun's path was honoured, where the flow of life was gently guided, the alignment of their temples with celestial bodies, the precise angles of their pyramids, the very orientation of their homes towards the life-giving river, all speak to a people who understood that external harmony fosters internal peace. The quiet dedication to these principles created an environment where the eye could rest, where the mind could find stillness, and where the soul could feel deeply connected to the grand, predictable cycles of the cosmos. Consider the architecture of peace, not just in monumental structures, but in the very fabric of their daily existence. The homes, built of sun-dried mud brick, offered cool refuge from the desert heat, often centered around a courtyard or a small garden, a private oasis mirroring the larger, more public gardens we have explored. Within these walls, life unfolded with a calm predictability, a comforting rhythm established by generations. The gentle clatter of pottery, the soft murmur of conversations, the scent of baking bread, the quiet industry of weaving, these were the daily hymns of a life lived in harmony with its surroundings. Even the act of construction, often involving communal effort, was a meditative practice, a shared endeavour that reinforced social bonds and a collective sense of purpose. Imagine the quiet strength of many hands working together, moving stone, shaping clay, each individual contributing to a whole greater than themselves, building not just structures, but a shared future, imbued with reverence for tradition and a gentle optimism for what tomorrow would bring. This communal tapestry of calm extended far beyond the family unit. The villages and towns, though bustling with life, maintained an underlying order, a sense of shared responsibility and mutual support. Festivals, as we have seen, were joyful expressions of this unity, moments of collective celebration that reaffirmed their connection to the gods, to the land, and to one another. But even in the quiet interim between grand celebrations, there was a constant gentle hum of community. Neighbours assisting neighbours, shared meals under the shade of a palm tree, the comforting presence of familiar faces and shared histories. This deep sense of belonging, of being an integral part of a larger, supportive whole, provided a profound antidote to loneliness or existential unease. In ancient Egypt, one was never truly alone. One was always part of the enduring flow, a precious drop in the vast, tranquil river of humanity, guided by the timeless currents of tradition and collective wisdom. The quiet power of their symbols and beliefs, too, offered a deep wellspring of peace. Hieroglyphs, those beautiful pictorial expressions, were more than just a written language. They were a visual poetry, a way of seeing the world through sacred eyes. Each symbol carried layers of meaning, connecting the mundane to the divine, the ephemeral to the eternal. To gaze upon these intricate patterns on temple walls or papyrus scrolls was to engage in a form of visual meditation, allowing the mind to wander through ancient narratives and profound truths. Their unwavering faith in the afterlife, meticulously prepared for and serenely anticipated, removed the sting of fear from the ultimate transition. The promise of the field of reeds, the journey guided by the gentle wisdom of texts like the Book of the Dead, transformed death from an ending into a continuation, a harmonious passage to another realm of existence. This profound acceptance, this peaceful integration of life and what lay beyond, cultivated a rare sense of tranquility that permeated every living moment. As we turn our gaze inward, we realize how these external expressions of harmony fostered a deep inner landscape of serenity. The ancient Egyptians, through their rituals, their reverence for nature, their mindful craftsmanship, and their profound spiritual connection, cultivated a remarkable resilience against the fleeting anxieties of life. They understood that true peace begins within, a quietude nurtured by purpose, by connection, and by an acceptance of the grand cyclical flow of existence. Their lives were not without challenge, yet their overarching philosophy provided a framework for navigating difficulties with grace, for finding solace in the enduring patterns, and for maintaining an inner calm amidst the shifting sands of time. The disciplined contemplation of the scribes, preserving wisdom literature for future generations, reminds us of the quiet power of knowledge and reflection to bring order to the mind. The timeless beauty of their art and sacred architecture continues to speak to us across millennia, not just of skill, but of an enduring spirit, a quiet confidence in the eternal. And so we arrive at a gentle understanding of the enduring echoes of ancient Egypt, a realization that these insights are not merely historical facts confined to distant lands and bygone eras. They offer us, in our modern world, a timeless blueprint for cultivating tranquility, the principles of balance, of living in harmony with our environment, of finding purpose in our actions, of fostering strong community bonds, and of embracing a deeper, more spiritual connection to life. These are universal truths that transcend time and culture. The quiet wisdom of the Nile, the serene beauty of a walled garden, the comforting rhythm of daily devotion, the profound acceptance of life's cycles, these are gifts from the ancients, offered freely to soothe our spirits and calm our minds. We invite you now to allow these accumulated insights to settle within you, like the fertile silt left by the receding waters of the Nile. Feel the gentle current of historical knowledge flow through your being, washing away any lingering tension, any hurried thoughts. Let the images of serene gardens, quiet temples, and stargazing nights gently permeate your consciousness. Breathe in the calm, exhale any remaining disquiet. The journey through ancient Egypt in all its peaceful beauty and profound wisdom has prepared you for this moment of deep repose. You carry within you now not just memories of a distant past, but a renewed sense of connection to the timeless rhythms of peace. Allow this tranquility to enfold you, to cradle you in its gentle embrace as you drift into a state of profound relaxation, carrying the quiet harmony of the ancients into your own restful slumber.